Hear me, I'm Susan from the Chamber of Commerce. So glad to have you here. This is our first meeting that we're having Friday Coffee that is in seat and by Zoom with the help of Will West Music and Sound. He helped us put cameras in here and make it so that we can accommodate all of our members, whether they're here with us or whether they're working remotely or joining us remotely via Zoom. So we did introductions. We won't do that again, but I am going to go ahead and do the announcements if we think we're ready, right? Yep. Am I getting thumbs up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're not. You might have to advance this.
Wait.
You guys know Kelsey's on the other end, right?
I know.
I'm trying, Kelsey. Doing the best I can. We'll just start.
No, that's what.
Okay, I'll just advance.
Okay. All right, I can see from here. Okay, so these are the housekeeping notes that normally Kelsey would go through. We should have added everybody automatically admittance and that you should be muted if you're not. We don't need any more problems that we've already got. So everybody go with this there.
Yeah,
so
and say it's not working up there. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Does this show how many people we have on Zoom?
19.
19 on Zoom.
It's because we have there.
Okay, we already did introductions. So now we're going to talk about our sponsor. So our sponsors for the Friday Coffee today is Karen Schaefer-Cutter with Spider Technology. So Karen, you want to go ahead and talk?
Okay. We want to thank you guys for letting us sponsor the Friday Coffee. We're excited because it's July 10th. And not only is this the first in-person and Zoom one that we've had on Friday Coffee, but also it's our 10-year anniversary. Spider Technologies has been in business for 10 years on July 10th. So we're excited about that. As you can see, we're having an open house and a ribbon cutting today at 4. So everyone is invited to that. Come by the showroom. We would love to have you celebrate with us. So we have a couple of exciting things going on. One of them is last year we talked about the Google Nest and Dish that they have all integrated and are working together. They're a partnership now. So one of the cool things, just to give you an example of kind of how it works, you know, if you've ever thought it like snuggled in for a movie, you're all snuggled in, you've got your popcorn, and then the doorbell rings. What do? Well, with Google Nest and Dish, you don't have to leave your recliner. So what happens is someone rings the doorbell and there's an inset picture on your television that tells you that someone's at the door. And not only is it just a notification, but you also actually see who it is. So then you can, through your Google Home app, you can actually have pre-scheduled notifications. So when they ring the doorbell, it can actually tell them, we're not available to answer the door right now, please come back. Or you can actually talk to them through your Google Nest app. You can actually have a two-way conversation. So that's just one example of how that Dish, Nest, and Google are all working together just to make your entertainment and then also integrate with your smartphone. So that's
social distancing.
Social distancing, yeah. And so then we just want to, if we advance the next slide.
It should have been, yeah.
There you go. So we just want to invite everyone to the showroom. We can give you demonstrations of the Nest products and the Google products, how they all work together with your Dish. And then we also have a promotion going on right now where it's possible that you can get a Google Nest video doorbell on us. So be sure and come by and we can tell you how you can do that. But we would also love to see you guys this afternoon to celebrate our 10-year anniversary.
At 4 o'clock's the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good. Well, Karen, before you leave, we've got your door prize that you brought today.
Okay.
You would like to draw a name. What have we got here? You've got, looks like.
Yeah, a couple flags, an MU flag as well as an American flag.
Oh, Frank, I'm gonna take your photo together. So why don't we just. Okay.
Thank you.
Where do we have? I'll have the background be our crowd.
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
When this is all done, well, and everyone's off, we'll mess with it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so you can be a sponsor too, and I'm glad that Rochelle is here because our friends at Cumulus allow us to make that sponsorship even more valuable for you. So you get promotion within the chamber via our email and on site, but you also get promotion with Cumulus, and Rochelle will work with you to create a promotion schedule for your business. And so Rochelle, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I think you said this.
We have a few months open in this calendar year and more opportunities in 2021. So we plan on having Friday coffee every month, either via Zoom or here or both. And if you would like to be a sponsor, we'd love to have you. Let's see, we'll get other announcements. I don't.
That's okay.
We'll just advance. I'll just have my helpers here in advance. All right, the community calendar. This is an exciting project that the chamber has launched. And we actually got this idea. It was a request from our members. You know, everybody in the community, as we did announcement, has great events and opportunities, either through their business or maybe they're involved in, you know, a charity. And it's nice to know if when you're planning an event, if you are coordinating that, maybe you're not scheduling at the same time someone else is having a great event. So we are going to have our JC community calendar. It is a clearinghouse for different meetings and events that you have in the community. We have partnered with KRCG. So the good news, not only do you get on this community calendar, but you also get, in essence, a commercial announcement, because every day they will read the events on the day book, on their day book morning. So to post the event, it's simple. You just go to our website and you fill out a few fields about the event and the closing date, and it's on the calendar until you've had that event. It is free for chamber members, and there is just a small cost if you're not a chamber member. We like to provide a benefit for our members, but we do not want that to be a barrier by any means. It's $5 to post if you're not a member. And so the more events that we have on there, the better. And we're all gearing up and scheduling our events this fall, rescheduling, and the community calendar is a great place for you to post those events. So one of those events that has been rescheduled is the barbecue. So we will put this barbecue on there. It's September 3rd. It was supposed to be an event in May. It is one of the chamber's biggest networking event we have. And this time, I think that the most important thing we have about our biggest networking event is that it is a safe networking event. And we as a committee are working with our folks in mind to make sure that if you do attend the barbecue, we hope you do, that you feel comfortable. So we're gonna have carry out, network, and then takeout, or we have several dining areas. So if you attend the barbecue, it's at Capitol Bluffs Event Center, lots of opportunities to be inside and outside so that you should be able to network safely. We have separate dining areas and separate areas for the live music and networking. So hope that you will attend the barbecue. It's September 3rd at the Capitol Bluffs. An event we have, Natalie, I should let you make this announcement because it's really about you. Go what you want to.
Yeah, every month we do the social media forum here at the chamber. Kenny and I help facilitate it. So this month we're going to talk about what your social media strategy should be during an election year. Because even though it kind of feels like it's early, it's really not to start planning that out. So it's next week at 8 o'clock. We will be doing it online and in person. So if you want to join in from home, you can, or if you want to come here, you can.
All right, another opportunity for networking is Chamber Connections. That's next week on the 16th. It's at Prison Brew outside. You can see we have a great opportunity to socialize and network outside on their patio. Wall Street is our sponsor. That's from 4 to 5:30. It's free for you to attend, free appetizers and a cash bar. So next week on Thursday from 4 to 5:30. It's our first Chamber Connections that we're having back. And with that, the program, I'm going to turn it over to Sean.
Hopefully I can keep this one going. Thank you, Susan. Okay, today we have, as we announced, we have the new owners of Ivy Terrace. Hopefully everybody is familiar with this location. I'm not going to steal any of the thunder and try to say anything about the property or anything, but we have Wendy Gladbach, owner of Anna Marie's Bridal, and we have her sister, Deb. Please say your last name. Sacilowski. And they are co-owners, and this is a group effort of siblings. So what I would like to have Deb and Wendy, if you'd like to come up and just give us an overview. You made the recent purchase, so.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for asking. We've had a lot of great interest from the community, and it's been wonderful. The whole community is embracing what we're doing. So we're in love with the house, but Jefferson City's in love with the house too. So it's really a wonderful project for us. And of course, the siblings, we haven't had this much fun for years. So
we spent a lot of years living in different places around the country. So to be able to have three of us in one area at one time hasn't happened since we were in high school. So
great. So the long-term goal is for this to be an event center. This all started last fall when Wendy started saying we needed a small event center in Jefferson City. And hobbies on the side which have to do with rebuilding things. And from that point on, there were several different.
as in the bridal store, I hear from brides, you know, I'm only going to have 50 people at my wedding. I'm only going to have 20 people at my wedding. So we're going to do it in the backyard somewhere because we're not going to pay you or Millbond on Capitol Bluffs because they're just so big. We want something small and intimate. So when this opportunity came around, we jumped at it.
So
I'll click you. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not.
Okay. So obviously we want to take you back to the beginning of what we saw, and this picture's in the hallway, which is such a great honor. But this is the beginning of Ivy Terrace. This is where we are today. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to proceed. So looking at the future, that's not what we're going to see hopefully next year. And I'm not going to tell you all the secrets, but we are going to talk about where we are today, the problems we're having, and where we should be ending up. So we'll talk about our team. And so as you know, my husband and I are actually the owners of the house. And this wall is
Can you see what she's on?
yeah. Okay, so and of course my sister Wendy, she's got all the style and flair. I'm gonna work the house, the structure with my brother Jim, who I call the enabler in chief, because when we went to the open house, there you go. When we went to the open house for the city, Jim joined us, and Jim's the gentleman on the left up there. Wendy, of course, is the one at the top, and I'm the victim in the mailbox. So this is one of my favorite pictures, and it really shows the sibling fun. But when we walked to the house, Jim was the one that was like, we could do this. And I throw it back at him every time things go wrong, because I said, you could do this. We wouldn't be doing this unless you said we could do this. Because it's got good bones. And we stood in that hallway and we jumped up and down and went,
You bounce on the floors and nothing moves.
this is a good
In a
house.
130-year-old house, you know it's structurally sound.
Right. And it was kind of that moment where we're like, let's do this. So we started writing a proposal. The other brother here, Tim, actually lives out in Virginia. So he has been working this type of work. He's in a 1890s farmhouse that he's renovating for himself, and it's beautiful. And he's done several other houses in the Virginia area, which is very historic, obviously. And he was on one of the HD TV shows, so we give him a hard time about that. He was the handyman on
Beachfront bargain hunt renovation.
yeah. So he was the handyman out there doing all the good work on one of the shows. So that was a fun opportunity for him, and he learned a lot from that. But he's our consultant from the farm. But I like to add this picture because it is about fun. You know, we can't do this without having a little fun. And Jim and I working on there, we are always goofing, and you just gotta have fun. and it's a good time. So why we're doing it, it was a natural expansion for Wendy. I mean, she's got the bridal shop, she's dealing with brides every day. She knows what the brides want because they're talking to her every day. So it was a natural business expansion for her. And it was just a wonderful opportunity for us. And I have the most tolerant husband in the world to allow me to do this.
And I have the second most tolerant husband in the world.
My husband did not see the house until I had already purchased it.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, just so you know what a great guy he is. And it's just a wonderful opportunity. And as we've been doing some of the groundwork as we get started, there are so many wonderful houses in this nation. You can be saved, and I say do it. If anybody is ever looking for a wonderful opportunity, and it's going to have to be a hobby, it can't really be a business. There's no real money in doing this, but they're amazing houses, and we're building new instead of saving these wonderful houses. So if the opportunity ever, take it. So starting from the beginning, I'm going to kind of walk through what we've got and what we're going to try to save, what we're going to have to replace, keeping the historic preservation in mind. Of course, that's the most important part. And we visited with our SHPO representative, and she's giving us wonderful guidance about what we should and should not do, and that's important to us. So the returning to the original, there's things that are obviously important to hold on to. And the tower, of course, the tower is the most important feature of this house. This is what everybody knows this house by. We've got to fix it. It is scabbed together. It is rotting. You have no idea how bad it is when you put your head up inside of it. And my brother and I had that conversation as we said, fix it or rebuild it. And we looked up inside and said, we're going to rebuild this. So there's 130 years, and there wasn't regular maintenance on this house. And you're going to see some of the ugliness of that. Some of the details, the railing on the front over the porch. Oh, I forgot I have a pointer. The railing over the porch, obviously it's not there anymore. We'd love to be able to put those details back. The shutters, they're not there anymore. Love to put those back. Working shutters. The color scheme. Color scheme is going to be a secret. I'm not giving up anything today because it wasn't red. It wasn't white. You're going to have to wait. So what are we going to have to repair, replace? The porch floors and ceilings, they're rotted. They are the original wood. Almost everything in that house is original. But there's just some things that we've got to pull them out and replace with similar or have things remilled. Custom remilling is what we're looking at. So we have to weigh all these things against all the other costs to the house. And there is a budget in this, unfortunately. Some of the roofing, there's 4 layers of asphalt on top of this cedar shake. 5 layers of roofing on that house right now. So if your roofer says, no, don't add another layer, please listen. Do this to somebody.
Somebody told the city code is 2 layers.
So I don't know how it happened, but those nails don't reach to the wood when you're nailing on that layer. The carriage drive is in place. It was actually removed at one point and then put back to where it is now today. We can't actually make it go down to the street. It would be awesome because I could see a bride in a carriage riding. It would be wonderful. But the elevation of the street now is just really not possible.
So they asphalted the street, they lowered it. So the original pictures, it's not as steep as it is now.
So we really can't put that back, but we still have that, the carriage drive there, just without the drive part. The windows obviously are a challenge. We have a couple stained glass windows that are missing that we're going to have remade. There's really no other way about it. There's a lot of broken windows, and we are not replacing any with the high efficiency double pane. We're going to put new glass in the current windows.
A lot of the windows still work. The ropes work, the weights work. They haven't been painted shut, so it's just some of them just need some minor repair, and other ones, like I said, the tornado we think did a lot of the glass damage because it hit 3 houses away. So a lot of the damage came from the tornado last year.
They're all double hung too.
They're all double hung.
Isn't that
Even the curve, the towers, the windows are actually curved. They're not flat glass. They're actually curved. And there's 3 broken panes out of 12. Yeah, I think 3 broken panes out of 12. But they're all double hung. They open. So
it's pretty amazing. It's some of the things that have survived is amazing. Then we have the other issues. The 3rd floor dormer on the back of the house, of course, you can't see on this side. It wasn't that many years ago that they added this giant dormer to be able to rent space up there. We're taking that down, flattening the roof back. That is the biggest problem we have with water is that dormer. and it wasn't original. It didn't just says, we don't need it. So we're gonna take it down to a flat roof. And so once we get the roofers in there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Angled.
angled flat, no dormer. So, okay, so and restoring, back up. Okay, so obviously the siding, that's the original siding. The cedar that's red now that are the diamond shape, that is all original. That's 130-year-old wood nailed to the walls. It's amazing. So we are gonna have to source where to get that siding again, and then try to patch where we can, because it's gonna be a little pricey, and save what we can, patch, and then paint once we get ready. The bricks in the chimney all have to be repointed, and we've got a vendor set up to do that. And again, save it before it becomes too bad to save. The doors, between vandalism and rodents, things like that, we're gonna have to take those apart, rebuild them. But they're so important to the house. You know, that front door has been covered by plywood for a long time. I can't wait to fix it and reveal it back to the city, because it's amazing. It's gonna be gorgeous. And then there was an addition added years ago, a lot of leaking there. So we've got to fix that too. Okay, so the exterior colors is like the biggest thing. What colors are gonna be? We've had many people ask us, so we're not gonna tell you, but
Well, we know what the original color was.
we do, which is really exciting. So let me start with the roof. Okay, so we talked about the 5 layers. This is a picture of a stained or painted, we think it was actually stained cedar red. So it was never raw cedar roof. So that is actually on the house right now, that picture is. And so this is the next layer on top of that one. And this layer is on top of that one. And I have a kind of a time frame to see when we believe that the picture on the right there.
You can see the red.
You can see, yeah, and
It looks pink.
Yeah, and the little wave, it has this like wood grain thing going on there.
So that says 1967.
67, yeah.
67.
We know the
That
picture is
picture
from
is-
67. We don't know what year the house is painted white.
Let me have a plug for pictures while we're on this. The White Cotton's granddaughter Meredith gave us this wonderful pile of pictures and things, and we wouldn't have that picture specifically without her. So we're still looking for the Fishers family. You know, are there descendants who have some pictures, when it was Marywood, when it was the beauty school. Pictures, especially inside. So anybody, please.
We're still doing some research.
Okay, so back to the, and then this is a black layer from about 85, we think. Very dark black, and it's in really rough shape. That was on for a lot of years. And then the current layer today, it looks kind of blue there. It's more black. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's the weight on top of the house right now.
Do you know what the last layer was?
We don't.
We don't, yeah. I mean, right. Okay, so talking about the exterior colors, I just want you to look at this picture, because this picture is from 1910, and it shows the different colors, the tones in the black and white photo. So just looking at the trim, I don't know where that was. I don't know where. I'm gonna take away my PowerPoint Ranger badge. But if you can just look at the different colors. So this is brick. This is all, not white painted brick. It's red brick. And then this is a lighter color, obviously. The upstairs, lighter. And then looking at the roof. So if you look at each one of these tones, this was obviously not white. And it wasn't red. Could have been red, but it wasn't as dark as the brick. So when you start looking at these different tones, when we painted and looking at the chimneys and the roof lines, start getting an idea of what this color could and couldn't be. And then you see this perfect line, and it's not just a shadow. So expect to see some color there eventually. And as we're scraping, we are going to get to the actual colors, and you're just going to have to wait. It's going to be exciting, but you're going to have to wait. So we'll just now back up and tell you how we got to where we are today. Our raccoon friend up there was evicted. What's that?
We just
He was evicted. He's a youngster. He was cute for a minute, and then after cleaning, shoveling a lot of poo out of this house.
For those of you that got to walk through it back when the city owned it, you know what we ran into in the house. But there was several families of raccoons living in the house.
For a long time. for long, and not just the poo, the structural damage. They ate through rafters. There are parts underneath the tower, the ceiling of the floor of the tower that they had eaten through to be able to get up and over. And you've got 2x6s up there that are eaten almost completely through. So and that's why it's really not safe to be in still. We don't allow people to just stop by and visit us. It's just not safe. But those little rascals, as cute as they can be, did a lot of damage to the house. So that was step one. And then speaking of the damage to the house, this is water damage. So this is a tower. The second floor of the tower, this is the main bedroom is in this corner, and this is the side that faces Capitol Avenue. That corner where the main wall and then the actual tower came around is almost completely disintegrated. You wouldn't know that when you walked into the house because we peeled everything back. The joists were rotted through, hanging by the edge. I mean, it's ceiling, floor, all the wall in between. That leaked for a lot of years. So we are rebuilding that currently. This addition I mentioned earlier too, that roof is flat. All flat roofs leak. There's just flat roofs are bad. That's all rotted, so we're going to be having to rebuild that. The back steps, we've already taken those down. They're not safe. The steps in between the two buildings, obviously not safe, and we're trying to determine now what we're putting back if we decide we're going to put steps back. But taking all that back and working through that, it's an extensive damage. And the dormer I mentioned earlier, it's this big square job here. It doesn't match the roof line at all, and we can tell from the construction that it was added not too many roof layers ago. So we can judge time by roof layers now. And so we're going to take that out and just take that back. We don't need the light up there as much. I mean, we have electricity, so the light issues isn't as big of a deal. And at this point, the third floor, we don't expect that to be a rental space because it has a very, very narrow stairway. Very steep, very narrow to get up there. So I don't believe we're going to be able to rent that out as part of the event center anyway.
It's gonna be our lounge. It's gonna be our personal family lounge.
Love it. Yes, yes. What else do I have here? Okay. So the alterations that we found within the house, we're removing those as we go. We believe the sink in the pansy bedroom here was added during the beauty school days. And the diaries from Maggie Stevens, she refers to this room as the pansy room. And it's the one that has the original pansy paintings that the White Cottons restored. So it's kind of fun to see that, but silly things like the sink would need to come out of there. It just doesn't have a benefit to what we're trying to do. The bathroom was added under the stairs on the first floor. The White Cottons added that. We're going to remove that. It just doesn't make sense, and it makes more sense for the event center to make it into a coat closet or something like that. So removing things that made this a nice house for a family makes sense for us because this is going to be an event center and we don't need those types of features. This is again the wall that I just showed you. This is that corner. You can see a little bit of wall falling down, but once we took this closet out, this was added. And in the other room, there's a giant closet added in front of the tiny closet in the corner because they were renting the rooms out to legislators and you needed a closet. So for family, this all made sense. For Ivy Terrace now, it does not. So we want that floor space back so we can take all that out. So we're removing things that were obviously added long after the house was built. And this is the third floor. So again, they added a bedroom in there, they added the dormer. We're taking all that out and opening it wide. The house stands on its own. It doesn't need the actual wall. So we'll be able to open that big and wide. We'd love to be able to rent it out, but we'll enjoy it. So it'll be wonderful for us. Okay. Interior finishes, some of the things that we found along the way. This is just a sample of the wallpapers we saw as we've been peeling things back, and that's been fun to pick apart the different layers. Luckily, there aren't 30 layers of wallpaper. Most rooms have just a couple.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah, and the ceilings have wallpaper.
I think one of those is one of those the ceiling, the bottom one, that ceiling.
Yeah,
that was on the ceilings.
Yeah.
So they plastered and then wallpapered originally, and then when they ran electrical into the house, they put furring strips in, ran the electrical along the strips, and just put the drop ceiling on the strip so they could run the electrical without digging into the walls.
The drop ceiling is gone.
It's gone.
All gone. All gone. And so some of the flooring we found along the way too. Those are all the different kinds of carpet and linoleum and lovely. This is one of our favorites. This is in the beauty school. Linoleum's a little dark there, but it's pretty. The best part is all of the floors were protected before they actually put all these different floorings down. There is subfloor on top of the original pine floors throughout the whole house. So that is wonderful for us. It's pine, so it's soft, but I think we visited with Shippo. There's places where they painted around the edge of the room before they put a flooring on, and then left the middle raw, which was probably where they put a carpet. And we may just put a light finish and leave those colors because that's the history. That's kind of where it was. So with the water damage, we're going to lose some floors. But all in all, they did a wonderful job preserving our floors by not putting glue on them or things like that. I think we're going to run
Yeah,
glue. But it's
linoleum
one room.
glued down, but that's one room in the whole house. so,
Everything else is a million nails in every 4x8 sheet, and taking them up gently. And they are raw pine. Some have a finish, some are just unfinished in beautiful condition. So that was wonderful. So what are we going to do? We're going to use the wood wherever we can. Pretty much that's the plan.
That's the plan.
We may have to tile in like bathrooms and kitchens in a product that would make sense for that time. Really for cleanliness more than anything else. We want to be able to use the kitchen for our caterers coming in for the event center, and we want to be able to clean it well. And with having the pine, that's probably not the best. So we may have to take pine from rooms that will need the wood to patch other rooms from water damage. And I think that'll work out really well. Okay, so where's our goal? We want to open next year. Some days we say, some days we're like, yeah, we can do this. And then some days it's, okay, 2 years looks pretty good. But yeah, that is the goal. And it is going to be a event center on the first floor, the kitchen being a caterer space. So we don't expect food to be cooked in the house. That's not really our plan. But a kitchen so they can prep for the event. And then the whole first floor has the 3 main rooms that we'd be able to rent out. Huge pocket doors that are there and working, and it's wonderful. And they'll be able to mill about after the wedding ceremonies. And the second floor has the bedrooms that Wendy's going to set up for. Sorry, I talk all the time.
That's okay. No, we're still, there's a possibility one of the bedrooms we'll use, like if somebody does want to get married there, they'll have a dressing space. People can get dressed there, they can hang out there, they can have their mimosas there, that type stuff. So we're still just kind of second floor, we've got some different options. We do have there will be one ADA bathroom on the first floor, and then there's 2 more bathrooms on the second floor. One of the bathrooms has the original clawfoot tub in it. So, that's kind of nice to find that in there, and it's huge. My husband's 6'5", and he can sit in the tub and still you could have a party in this tub.
Has he sat in that tub?
He has.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
So it's just, so it's nice to find some of these original, with all the different homeowners over the years, some of these original things. So yeah, so we've still got some things we're working on for the second floor, so we're not kind of announcing what's going on totally up there yet. But it's just to have that big wraparound porch, and even the pictures will be phenomenal, and we're looking at, like, in the front parlor and the tower would be the wedding space. And we have the big open staircase to the second floor, so there's gonna be a lot of options, for different things, not only weddings, meetings, anniversary parties,
Bridal showers.
baby showers. We're thinking Sunday afternoon, high tea once a month, so just something kind of fun. We've got a friend in the theater in town, and we're like, well, we can do high tea in costumes. We can show up in Victorian costumes and do high tea. So we have, just some different options that we've talked to different people about, so we've just got some different things going on. The 3 main rooms of the first floor with the pocket doors, they could be closed for a small meeting. You get 20, 25 people for a meeting, you can rent one room, you don't have to rent the whole building, So we have some different things to lay out, so we're working on it a little at a time.
Every room has a fireplace in it too.
And we have 8 fireplaces in the house.
It's amazing. Now they're not going to be working because we saw the bill for that. Not going to be able to do that. So, but we may put gas logs in some of them for ambiance right as you walk in. It would be really beautiful to have a little crackling fireplace.
And half of them are in like new condition. So there's one with severe damage, one with a little bit of damage, but 4 of them are like brand new.
And that's the tile work. She's
The
referring
tile
to
work,
the tile work.
yeah, we still gotta do some of,
Gorgeous.
2 of them are unpainted, so we got 5 of them, we gotta strip paint off to get down to the wood, so.
And the white cotton's actually stripped some down too. Along the time, you could see where previous owners tried to bring things back, and we just really appreciate that. That was really important. For the basement and the third floor, we talked about the third floor. We're really not sure what we can do because if we can't make it available to everybody, I don't know that we can make it available. The basement, we were just discussing, we could have the groom's ready space down there. It's really neat. All the limestone rock, it's really gorgeous. But right now, we're just ripping it out and getting it ready to be used.
But even the basement that's got 8-foot ceilings, so it's usable. There was an apartment down there for a number of the White Cox granddaughter told us that, one of the pictures, it was an older gentleman in the picture on the back patio. And she said, oh, that's the guy who rented the basement apartment. So there was a 1-bedroom apartment in the basement, but all that's down to the limestone right now, and we'll come around. And if anybody follows us on Facebook, we showed the picture of the tower, the limestone curve at the base of the tower, so it'd be like a really cool little party room. So we're still throwing ideas around.
Yeah, I just think you sit down there drinking wine. It's just, I saw it, I was like, if I was moving in, this would be my little wine cellar. But
What is your Facebook name?
it is Ivy Terrace JCMO. So the challenges, of course, I put accessibility first because that is our most important challenge. It's a big one. And if we can't overcome this, this puts us in a bad place. We cannot disturb the front of the house. We're on the corner, so those two sides are very critical to not make a change to them. The slope of the lot is a challenge to us. So getting a sidewalk up to the front porch is possible, but then getting a lift from the ground up to the front porch isn't possible on those two sides because it would just be too disruptive to the
great big metal box on front of the house, which just isn't attractive.
Right. An elevator was the original plan, but we had a budget. So we wanted to do that. But even with that, you don't want to bring people who have accessibility needs like through the back kitchen. And our addition would have been probably the only place to put an elevator. So we're really kind of crying out for help on this. And we need some creative ideas. What haven't we thought of? Where could we possibly add some other accessibility? We definitely want to have technology accessibility, as in if somebody can't make it for whatever reason, we want to be able to stream weddings. So if it just becomes too hard, is it possible that would be an option for folks to be able to participate remotely? But having a historic home, accessibility is very challenging. The doorways, and when you're talking about a brick house, for us to open something up, it means that first floor, we might have to take brick down. So we have to weigh all those things. So accessibility geniuses, we'd love to hear from you. I mean, really, because we fret.
We have ideas, but we just got to run it past what we can and can't do. So
yeah, and what makes sense. I mean, we want to do the right thing, and we want to make it as open to everybody, obviously. So I put that first. So the historic tax credits are a challenge. When I met with our SHPO representatives, there's a lot of things I'd like to do to make it really a special house. But if we don't have some sort of historic proof that it had that feature, we can't ask for a tax credit for it. So do we just scrap the whole free money from the government so we can make it something really, really special? Or do we keep it, what do you call it? Elegant, something.
I don't remember. I use the term.
So
elegant, stately.
Yeah.
I mean, Lon Stevens was the state treasurer when he built the house and went on to become governor. So he wanted the elegant, stately look. It's not the painted lady look you get from a lot of the houses at that era. It was never built that way. As we're finding original wallpaper, it was more an elegant, classy place. It wasn't over the top. You see the Victorian houses with the floral wallpaper and the floral window coverings and the floral furniture, and it's just a lot. We don't think this house was ever like that. So we're trying to stick with that look. But the SHPO said, yeah, that tile would be nice, but if you can't prove it's original, like we're talking about the kitchen floors, there's hardwood floors in the kitchen. In modern day, you don't want hardwood floors in your kitchen or your bathroom. So there's hardwood floors in the bathroom. They didn't have running indoor plumbing, possibly at that time. So hardwood floors in the bathroom made sense. They don't make sense now. So, we've got different things we have to weigh.
Even little details like a chair rail. I want to put a chair rail under the pansies in the pansy room so we can then decorate below and leave that original painting in place. And if the room never had chair rails, she said, not recommended. I'm like, or not churros, I'm sorry, picture
rails up top, yeah.
So there's little details we didn't expect to run into. So we have to make some decisions there on what we want to do. And it's not like we're asking to turn it, put some
We're not,
crazy.
we're not taking any walls down. We're not changing the structure of the house. So, 20 years down the road, we're retirement age, we want to sell the place and somebody wants to move into it and turn it into their family home. It's going to be doable. They're not going to have to come in and gut the place and do it something. So we're trying to stick with the original layout of the house.
Original or what would have been expected
Yeah.
at that time when it comes to decor, lights, ceilings, things like that. So
What's the total square footage of your home?
about 6,000
Yeah,
with
it's
the attic
In
and
the
basement.
basement, 59, 60 or something like that, yeah.
So of course, the scope of the project, we knew it'd be a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's even more work than a lot of work at this point, but it's huge. So we have got to bite at the elephant one bite at a time. Right now, we're focusing on getting the structure fixed. If we waited another year, or if the city waited another year, there'd be no house to save. I'm certain of that. Just looking at the rot from the water damage, it would have been too much. So but we have to just prioritize and work it a little at a time. So that is a challenge, and we knew that. And the other challenge is parking. And we knew from the beginning, we're in the city and, there's not even street parking on Jackson Street on our side. So an event center, what are we gonna do for parking? And so we're kind of looking at different options for that. So, those are kind of the challenges in front of us right now that we ask the community, do you have an idea we haven't thought of? This is a new endeavor for us. This isn't something that we've done before. We've done, a lot of housework, but not try and start.
Yeah,
a
we've done
business.
houses, we've done private houses, haven't done a commercial property.
So we ask for as much help as possible. You can contact us through the email or follow us on Facebook, and we also are on Instagram. But if you have ideas, if the community has ideas and they're like, we think, we have somebody who's in a wheelchair and we saw this great way of getting them to this, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to walk you around the house and the grounds anyway and say, where do you think we could do this? And any kind of new ideas would be wonderful. Parking also for scope of the work, and I didn't even put budget on there because we all know that's going to be a problem. But thank you for your time, and if you have questions.
I was gonna say, any quick questions, Frank?
How many people do you think you can handle for an event?
We're gonna get the fire inspector in there, but we're looking at somewhere, depending on if there's gonna be a sit-down meal or a cocktail party or something, probably somewhere between 50 and 70. So, but we gotta get the fire inspector in there to walk through and tell us actually how many we can do.
Do you think you'll be able to sue the raccoons for damage?
It'd be nice, but we do have finally gotten rid of the raccoons, they're gone. We do have at least one groundhog living under the porch, and he won't go away. We've tried all the different things conservation has, on their website to do, and you pull up every day and there he is in the front yard, just looking at you, and he runs under the porch.
Do they do anything?
They just dig holes in the ground, and one of them, we've cut out part of the porch floor, and you look down, and it's about 4 feet deep. I mean, it's right along the foundation. All the way, yeah, he's got like a tunnel along the foundation, so yeah.
They've been there a long time. I mean, think about animals like that, if you don't disturb them, they'll get comfortable, and that house has been left vacant for a long time, and they were very comfortable.
Yeah, so our raccoon trapper, he's never done groundhogs, but he's willing to try groundhogs and see if we can relocate them, because we've tried ammonia down. They say that conservation said ammonia down, a rag soaked in ammonia, throw it in the hole. They don't like it to leave. Somebody else would throw smoke bombs down in there. It's like, I don't know if I want the house smoking. So,
Yeah.
But somebody else.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's fun. It's fun. So.
Very nice. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Wendy. Very exciting. Very exciting. We're going to transition real quick and hopefully have Ann Green, Executive Director of the Historic City of Jefferson, just give us a quick update on some of the other historic properties. Do we have?
Anne, can you talk so I can see if I can hear you?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Maybe we have. Ann.
Maybe.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Sean? Or- Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
the
there we
chamber?
go. Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you. Ann.
Okay, great. And I've got a brief PowerPoint that I'll run through just talking about adaptive reuse in Jefferson City. I want to thank you guys all for having me there today, via Zoom at least. As mentioned, my name is Ann Green, and I'm the Executive Director of the Historic City of Jefferson. And I just really want to talk to you guys for a few minutes about adaptive reuse and what that is and how Jefferson City is using it. And, you know, Ivy Terrace, talking to Wendy and Deb, they are doing an amazing job on bringing back what is really a gem of historic buildings here in Jefferson City. And so we're so excited to see what that's going to look like in 2021. And, you know, it's a great example of adaptive reuse. Adaptive reuse, for those that might not be familiar with it, is actually something that we've been doing throughout time with historic buildings. And it's really just the process of reusing an existing building for a purpose other than which it was originally built or designed for. So this is, I mean, if you look back to when the Parthenon was built, that building has been reused over time for numerous things, as have other historic buildings. And I think it's really something that these buildings have had to find a new purpose in order to survive. And that's exactly what's happening here at Ivy Terrace and other historic buildings in town, is that as time passes, they're having to be adapted and repurposed in order to fit the needs of the community and the individuals that own them. And so we're happy to see that happen, and we think it's necessary for that to happen. This is, if we look at what happens whenever adaptive reuse isn't used, a great example is actually the jail that was in Jefferson City back in the 80s. It was originally built in 1842, and then later it was demolished in 1982. And that's really how the historic city of Jefferson came around, is because the demolition of this building, I think, made citizens realize how important it is to save these historic buildings and help them find a new purpose in our community's life cycle. So this jail was demolished, but, you know, who's to say that if it was still standing today, it wouldn't have found a new purpose, similar to what's going on over at the MSP right now as well. So that's just one example of where a building was lost. We really look at adaptive reuse as the goal of it is being able to save these historic buildings. There's numerous buildings, while this building was not saved, there's numerous buildings in town that have been saved. Many of you are familiar with the Caretaker's Cottage, which is located on McCarty by the National Cemetery. It was built in the 1870s as an office and actually living space for the caretaker who took care of the National Cemetery. It sat vacant for a number of years before the historic city of Jefferson took on the task recently of saving the building and repurposing it. And we're happy to announce that currently it serves as staff offices for the Boys and Girls Club there. So this building has again found a new purpose and is being used, and as a result is being saved. Just down the road is on High Street is 118 East High Street. And, you know, if you look at this building over the past year, the humans did a great job of saving the building and kind of updating it. And as a historic preservation organization, you know, we like to see these updates happen because they help save these buildings. Oftentimes when these updates don't happen, what you see is vacant buildings sitting vacant and falling into disrepair. So we're happy to see businesses taking historic buildings like this one at 118 East High Street and really breathing new life into it. Just down the road then is the 712 East High Street, which again has found numerous purposes over its life cycle. 712 East High Street was built in 1910 and it originally served as a family home. But later, and I think this is really interesting, it was converted in the 1920s to serve as the first public funeral home in Jefferson City. And there's a whole interesting history behind that. But after it served as a funeral home, it then served as offices, then apartments, and then a few years ago, about a decade ago, it was purchased and completely restored and repurposed, and it currently serves as short-term vacation rental and meeting space. So it's found a new life over the past decade, and we're happy to see that happen. Just up the road is International Shoe Factory. And while this is still undergoing rehab right now, we are excited to see what this is going to turn out to be, similar to what's going on down the road on Capitol Avenue at Ivy Terrace. This building has a lot of history behind it. And it's a great example of adaptive reuse here in our community. Then we've also got the Porth House, which is across town over by the Mill Bottoms. And this is actually one of the earliest historic buildings in Jefferson City. It was built between 1827 and 1842 and served as a family home. It too has had numerous reiterations of its purpose and what it's had to adapt over time. Currently, it serves as office space, but it's an absolutely beautiful building, and we're happy to see that the Architects Alliance is housed out of it, which seems appropriate. And then we've got Hobo Hill and the Gray Lady, which are two buildings over by Simonson that have been repurposed in recent years. Both of them started off as family homes. And so we've got Hobo Hill, which is the house on the right, which is the red brick house. When the Clark family purchased it, it had been completely gutted. And actually, you can see that picture here on the left. And I love this house because it's just an amazing transformation and bringing it up to date and making it usable for today's purposes. It's currently a short-term vacation rental and meeting space. You can rent it off of Airbnb. And that's kind of what we're seeing several historic buildings being used for, which is great because historic tourism is a growing economic factor for Jefferson City. And we're happy to see that happen as people realize and recognize the history in our community. Right next door to it, the Clark family then purchased the Gray Lady, which is at 504 East Miller Street. This building is currently being repurposed right now and is undergoing rehab. Hopefully it'll be finished over the next few months. I love this one because the Clark family has used many items from our architectural salvage shop and they found new uses for them. One great example is this lighting fixture that came from originally the building at 100 East High Street. They had several of these from when it was a restaurant. We picked them up. As you can see, it's got rust over it. It looks really dated, but with a little love and care, you can see that they've turned it into these amazing new light fixtures that are hanging from the kitchen area. They've also used several historic doors and turned into a window bench and all kinds of fun ideas. So this is an idea of where we're seeing adaptive reuse and repurposing used for historical architectural salvage items as well, which we love to see. And you know, one great thing about this building that I don't think a lot of people have been able to appreciate is the amazing views that it has. It's got 360-degree views all around Jefferson City. And so it's just absolutely beautiful. And we're excited to see this building turn into, they're not sure quite on the purpose of it yet, but they're thinking, I think, a short-term rental space so that other people can appreciate this great building. You know, we've got the Capitol Avenue Historic District, which Cynthia and the Housing Authority has been doing an amazing job over the past several years, working to really get some of these houses that have been vacant and are now in blight status saved, just like Ivy Terrace. And so if you look at the map, the Chamber has, I know, their magazine coming out soon, and HCJ has provided them with a map that's a little bit more updated than this one actually. So it goes through the Capitol Avenue Historic District and all the houses that are down there, looking at post-tornado, what the status of these buildings are. As you can see in the red, those are some of the ones that have been demolished. The ones in the purple, those those four have actually been sold. Those were sitting vacant in blight status, and those are going to be developed soon. So we're excited to see that. And you know, really many of these buildings are currently under development, which we're thrilled about. And several of them, you know, a lot of these houses started off as being family homes, and today they've been repurposed into businesses, event centers, a wide number of things, which is great because that means that they're still around and still serving a purpose. And if we go over to the next slide, I just want to leave you guys with a quick thing. It's just something to think about this weekend, really, because we live in this amazing and beautiful historic city, and it's really important that we save these buildings. And adaptive reuse is a great way to do that, and finding new purposes for these buildings. Not only because it results in the saving of the buildings, but also it creates new job opportunities. I'm sure that Deb and Wendy can talk to you about all the different contractors they're using. Same thing down the road at the shoe factory. It's creating a lot of new jobs, and we're excited to see that for the economic impact it's going to have on our community. As well as, adaptive reuse is really a green model that we want to see people moving towards. All of these items that can be reused means that they're not going to the landfill, which after the tornado, we saw just dumpsters full of wonderful housing items going to the landfills. And so that's really our goal, is to kind of find new purposes for them and to save these buildings. And then most importantly, it saves these historic buildings, which are so important to our community's memories and keeping these stories intact. Over the past year, we've seen the Dahlmeyer Mansion down the street on Capitol Avenue go, which is really a great building and had a good history behind it. And although it's gone, we obviously have the records and the photos of it, but it's not the same thing as having that building still being here. And so that's why it's so important to save these buildings. And that's really why we're so happy to see Ivy Terrace and the progress that this family is making on it. We're happy to do that. How you can help, if you are interested in historic preservation, we encourage you to become a member. HCJ is active on Facebook, and we're constantly sending out information on historic preservation to our membership. If you're a business, talk and maybe think of becoming a sponsor. And then follow us on social media as well. We've got the HCJ Inc. is our main one. We also have a rehabbers club that local people that are interested in doing rehab projects come together and can network with one another and ask questions. And then we've got lots of volunteer opportunities as well. So if anybody has any questions, I know I went through this very quickly, but I appreciate the time that you've given me today. Please reach out, and I'm always happy to talk about historic preservation or our city's history and to meet new people. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you very much. Very exciting. We have between Ivy Terrace and all the other properties on Capitol Avenue, very exciting news. I like to see the purple in negotiations. There were 4 or 5 of them there. So in the last couple of years, the historic district, as I would refer to it, in Capitol Avenue, have come a long way. And, with our anchor, thanks Deb and Wendy, with our, I'm going to call it the anchor there on the corner. Yeah, Ivy Terrace. So exciting for the community and everyone involved. Basically what I would like to do is quickly open it up just to our small crowd here. If there's any additional questions. Okay, and what I'd like to, we'll just finish with apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're working through that. We have some new equipment. Natalie, thank you very much. Natalie was our IT. Yeah. Thank you, Natalie, and thanks for everyone that joined us today via Zoom. Thank you very much. And so with that, happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is it possible to copy the presentation?
Sorry, it got loud here. Say that one more time.
You're okay. Is it possible to get a copy of the presentation, like the slideshow?
The PowerPoint, can you guys email?
Yes, ma'am.
Put that somewhere. Yes, we'll figure out the details. And by that, I mean that will.
Okay, no, that works. Thank you guys so much for doing all this, and this is amazing.
Yeah, I know.